Ferguson calls for Rangers figure to quit Ibrox already. The fans just won't accept him. Auston Trusty speaks out over Jack Butland incident versus Rangers. Meanwhile, Rangers launch a bold move for Mujaid Sadick, the defender who made Chermiti vanish in plain sight. And speaking of disasters, Djiga's time at Ibrox looks all but finished, labelled the worst on the pitch and now on the chopping block as the January window looms. Stay with me, because what's happening behind the scenes at Rangers right now is nothing short of explosive. Kevin Thelwell, a name that's barely had time to settle into Ibrox, and already it's ringing alarm bells across the whole of Rangers country. You watched it on Thursday, didn't you? A 2-0 home defeat to Roma. Banners unfurled, stewards yanking them down while the boos echoed round Ibrox like a storm over the Clyde. Now, Derek Ferguson, a man who bleeds blue, has said it plainly: Thelwell's time should be up. And let's be honest, can you really argue he's brought in the wrong men, made baffling appointments, and worst of all, put his own son in charge of recruitment? Nepotism at a club the size of Rangers, it's beyond belief. Since the day he arrived from Everton, there's been nothing but chaos. Poor transfer business, an uninspired managerial appointment, and a squad that looks like it's never met before kickoff. You and I both know this club doesn't accept mediocrity, and yet here we are, 14 points behind Hearts, not Celtic, Hearts. Then you had Ali McCoist and Rory Hamilton on the telly during that Roma game, calling it as it is. McCoist didn't sugarcoat a thing, said this squad's unrecognizable, no fight, no physicality, and for what? £30 million spent just to make us weaker. Let that sink in. £30 million, and the side looks like it would struggle in the championship. You've lost 60-odd goals between Dezers, Cerny, Igamani, and not a single proper replacement in sight. Ant-Man, Chermiti, Asgard, they've barely made a ripple, never mind a wave. And Thelwell's not the only one to blame, but when you install your own lad as head of recruitment, you better get it right. And he's not. The excuses of tight budgets are long gone. The 49ers have backed this club with serious cash, and look what we've got to show for it. A dressing room full of flops, a manager hanging on by a thread, and a fan base completely disillusioned. This season's a write-off before the bells have even rung in the new year. A club with our pedigree reduced to hoping for a Scottish Cup run. That's not ambition, that's desperation. If Kevin Thelwell doesn't walk now and the board continues backing this shambles, do you even believe the people running this club understand what it means to be Rangers? You saw it, you felt it, and I don't care how many times you've watched it back, there's no version of that incident where Auston Trusty doesn't deserve a straight red. Late in the first half, Jack Butland gathers the ball safely, doing exactly what you want your number one to do, calm under pressure. And what happens? Trusty comes flying in with a swinging boot, plants it right into the side of Butland's head. And what do we get? A yellow card and a shrug. VAR checked it and somehow decided it was fine. Trusty's come out since then saying it was just a tap, saying I didn't boot him in the head. You what? That's a boot, son, not a pat on the shoulder. And if it was our man doing that to Joe Hart, you and I both know the red would be out faster than you can say Celtic bias. He goes on to say it's all just part of the rivalry, that we're only moaning because we lost. But here's the thing. When Thalo Asgard catches Ralston high, we're straight down to 10 men, no hesitation. Yet Ralston handles the ball in the box, no second yellow. Trusty kicks a goalkeeper in the skull, yellow only. Where's the consistency? Where's the justice? Trusty apologized, and fair play if it was accidental. But since when has intention determined red cards? Ask anyone who's been sent off for a high boot or late challenge. I didn't mean it, doesn't cut it. You can say sorry all you like, but when you endanger an opponent, you walk. And let's not act like this match was a clean-cut win for them. We had our moments, and if it had been 10 versus 10, it could have gone a whole different direction. But the officials, once again, made sure the balance tipped one way, didn't they? Danny Rohl has no time to dwell on this nonsense. That much is true, but you do, and you saw it for what it was. This wasn't just a derby decision, it was another page in the story of Scottish refereeing that's been flipping against Rangers for years. That same exact challenge had been made by a Rangers player on a Celtic keeper at Parkhead. How long would it have taken for the red to come out? Rangers have officially launched their first inquiry to sign Mujaid Sadick from Genk. And if you saw him when he came to Ibrox earlier this season, you'll remember exactly why that name matters. He absolutely pocketed Youssef Chermiti that night. 1 touch in the box, 3 dispossessions, not one successful dribble against him. Chermiti might as well have been playing in concrete boots. Sadick's a Spanish defender, only 25, but already with Champions League and Europa League experience under his belt. Genk have tied him down until 2028, but that hasn't stopped Rangers from knocking on the door. And can you blame them? With Nasser Djiga getting absolutely exposed against Roma and Sutar looking shaky under pressure, Rohl needs someone solid and quick. This lad's not just a centre-back either. He can cover right back too, which is exactly the kind of versatility we've been screaming out for. Comfortable on the ball, strong in the tackle, and composed under pressure. It's the polar opposite of what we saw during that horror show on Thursday night. And let's be honest here, Danny Rohl's hands are tied until January. He's trying to impose a 5-at-the-back system with players who look like they've never played together. Every defensive lapse is a neon sign flashing help wanted. Sadick could be the first proper step towards building a backline that doesn't fold like a cheap tent in a Highland wind. You've got to wonder if this is the board finally trying to fix the mess left behind by Thelwell. Because if Djiga was the best he could find with proper money to spend, then bringing in Sadick might be more about damage control than progression. But here's what's really got me thinking. If Mujaid Sadick is willing to join Rangers in January and leave a top-end Belgian side mid-season, what does that say about the current state of Ibrox? Is it still a club that top players genuinely believe in? Or is this just another stop-off for agents trying to shift stock? And just when you thought the summer couldn't have gone any worse, Kevin Thelwell promised us Nasser Djiga would flourish at Rangers, a player with the physical and mental profile to thrive in Scottish football and in Europe, he said. Well, after watching the lad stumble through one disaster after another, you have to wonder if Thelwell was scouting Djiga on FIFA career mode, because nothing we've seen at Ibrox suggests he's anywhere near ready. From the red card against Dundee on his Premiership debut to the absolute howler in Europe that gifted Brugge the opener, Djiga has been a walking calamity. He's been labelled the worst player on the pitch by the Italian press, utterly lost against Celtic at Hampden, and for Roma's opener on Thursday, he lost his man like a bairn chasing pigeons in George Square. Meanwhile, Danny Rohl is trying to steady a sinking ship. He's switched to a back three, hoping to mask the defensive frailties. But with Djiga involved, the only thing that's consistent is the chaos. Wolves can have him back with a bow on his luggage. There's simply no room in a squad fighting for survival, for Europe, for silverware, for passengers. And it doesn't end there. Chermiti, brought in for £8 million, might be heading out on loan as well. That's 2 major summer signings already facing the exit door. You tell me, what exactly was Thelwell doing this summer? What kind of recruitment strategy leaves you worse off, lighter in goals and leakier at the back? There's talk of Lawrence Shankland re-emerging as a target. Fine, he scores goals, but this whole rebuild already feels like a rescue mission. And the biggest question is whether the January window is about progress or just cleaning up Thelwell's mess. So here's what I want to know from you. If Djiga and Chermiti both go out in January, does that officially make this the worst transfer window in Rangers' modern history? Let me know your thoughts in the comments and drop a like to support the channel. Daily Rangers content here. Subscribe now so you don't miss a thing. See you in the next one.